I'd like to think so, yeah. I mean, we need to be really consistent on Friday night, and the Dogs they've got a great history the last couple of years, played prelim final, so and of course playing at Etihad's a real challenge for us. And our four-quarter effort's got to be maintained. I think that's what most people are expecting, and we're demanding it from a coaching point of view, and the players are very demanding of each other that we put 120 minutes together on Friday night. Big stage for us, so there's a lot on the end of it for us.
After 2 in a row, what is the key to your consistency?
Look, I don't think I hear too many coaches saying every single week that contested possession and tackles aren't important. And our tackling on the weekend was terrific in our front half, particularly in our forward 50, and it's been something we've been trying to get right for most of the year. And on the weekend we did, and when we play well, that's a stat that stands up for us when we're tackling and putting pressure in the forward 50. And it's going to be really important on Friday night to again achieve some of those targets we have.
Must be a pretty good feeling having the four-quarter effort. It's only a couple of weeks ago we were standing here talking about the Collingwood game. We sort of fell apart in the last quarter and really sort of served it to them in their last term when Richmond came pretty hard.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you've summed it up. You've given me a good question, given a good answer. Yeah.
Have you found any logical reason why you'd lose 10 in a row at Etihad? Have you got some allergy to the grass there? Or?
No, we haven't diagnosed it that deep. Whether the grass is a problem for us, but we haven't been playing well. I mean, we're a club that's gone 16th, 16th, and 12th. So when you're finishing where we have, I'm not sure whether any stats in the last 3 or 4 years are going to be promising for us. So it's like our interstate travel. We didn't win too many games travelling interstate, in the years where we finished 16th and 16th as well. But in the last year and certainly this year, our travel record's better. So as our players get to play more games and get more experience with each other, you'd like to think our consistency at Etihad should be fine. And there's no reason why we can't play well there Friday night. I mean, it's a ground that should suit us. It's a quick track, so that should suit us as well. So I don't see any reason why we can't really play competitive. And like I said before, the forward 50 tackles and pressure in the front half's really a very important stat for all clubs, but it's going to be really important for us Friday.
Joel McDonald, any news on his knee? Did he injure that during the game at all?
He complained of it just before the start of the game actually, and he played the first half with it, so it's a little bit swollen today. But knowing Joel, I think in the next 48 hours he should be okay. I think from what I've seen today. So he got a little bit of swelling after the game, but there's no knock during the game, so hopefully he should be okay.
And what about Luke Tapscott? Is he ready to sort of come back?
Yeah, Tappy's probably taken a bit longer with his hamstring, so he's probably 50-50 to come back this week. But because he's been out for probably might be almost 5 weeks now with a hamstring, he's probably more likely to play at Casey. But when he was playing with us, he was a really good kick-off halfback, and he was starting to show some outstanding signs for us. So he won't be out of the team for too much longer, I don't think. But we'll see how we go this week. He trained very, very well last week, so I know he's keen to get back in, Luke.
You speak a lot about consistency in terms of four-quarter effort, but what about 3 matches in a row? I mean, what would 3 wins in a row say in terms of consistency?
That we're consistent, I think. Look, we're about to come into our 3rd six-dayer, and that, from our point of view, if you look at the draw at the start of the year, this is always going to be a challenging period for us. And our medical staff and our fitness guys have worked overtime the last 3 weeks really with recovery, and we hope that they're going to be up and going again Friday night. So to be consistent with the performance on the back of 3-6 days is a great challenge for us, and there's no reason why we can't put a tick in that box Friday night. We've got a great opportunity as a football club on a Friday night game to play well and win the fundamentals, the really important stats of the game. So our consistent efforts just got to be there as well.
Jack Watts is blossoming nicely. How does someone improve so rapidly?
I think Jack's always shown a progression. I mean, we've decided with all the players that we've drafted that we'd try and build them right the first time. So we've been patient in our weights room, for example. We've certainly been, through Joel Hocking and Val, our fitness guys, and Adam Palla. They've built them hopefully the first time, the right time, and that builds a bit of confidence in the players as well. So it's been a fantastic, decision from the football club to build him right, and with that comes confidence. And he's just starting to put some consistency in his game together. He's starting to take some really good contested marks, but when he's up the ground, he makes good decisions. So he's now got physically he's starting to do more because he's just got fitter and stronger. and come next year he'll be again another 25% better player next year. So he's on the rise, and he's playing his role, which is a really good sign for us.
He seems like a really likeable young bloke. Can you tell us a bit about what he's like around the club and how hard he works? And I guess for coaches, how does it feel to see someone blossom like that in front of you?
Oh, yeah, Jack's a very competitive person. I mean, inwardly he's very competitive, and but he's got a very engaging personality. But deep down, he's a super competitive bloke, and we've got a lot of players who are just starting to emerge. Once they get into their 30 to 40 game period, they're starting to dominate longer periods of the game in the sense of their impact in the game, what they do when they've got the ball, and just as importantly, what they're doing without it. So he's one of probably 8 or 9 blokes, I think, who have really grown and developed over the last 12 months, and are just starting to show some long-term signs. And I'd like to think that our supporters and members are sitting back thinking, yeah, he's starting to show a bit more than he did last year, and a bit more than he did 8 weeks ago. And Jack's one of the 8 or 9 blokes, and he's because of his obviously number 1 draft pick, people lay a lot of focus on him, but he plays his role and he works incredibly hard. I think people will be surprised at how hard he works. His GPS numbers are through the roof every week.
Where are you at as a club by comparison with your own expectations as opposed to the external? Because I know the CEO talks about a band that you need to stay or you want to stay within. Where are you actually at compared to your own expectations?
Oh, I think we're exactly where we are, and I've heard some of the commentators mention that at the moment, the game of the weekend between Richmond and Melbourne, you'd think that was probably where both clubs are at. They're still developing. Their players are still getting bigger and stronger and quicker and a lot more experience. So when you're building and rebuilding a club and reshaping the club, there is a time when you continually be in a very strong development phase, which we are still at. But the promising thing is that our young players are getting enormous experience from the exposure that they've received this year. Young Jordan McKenzie goes and plays on Cochin on the weekend. That's a great opportunity for Jordan McKenzie. Last week he was on Pavlich, and he's a less than a 30-game player. And our players on the weekend, like young Nicholson and Strauss, are getting valuable experience, and they're less than 6 or 7. I think we had 13 or 14 less than 50 or something. But the experience they're getting via the exposure is really important in a young career. If you want to build players, you don't want to wait till they're 60 to 70 games to expose them. And we've chosen to expose them really early this year, and at the moment I think the experience they're getting might be worth a game and a half to them if you're going to sort of evaluate what they're getting. So we're exactly where we thought we'd be, but the consistency aspect before is the thing we just need to get on top of.
When does the development phase, when do you call that off and say, okay, we're having a crack at it?
I've never ever said we've never had a crack. Don't get confused with what development is compared to winning games. We're in the competition to win as many games as we can. But if my view to you is this: is that the list that we've got, they are in a very strong development phase. They are developing as quickly as we can. We mentioned Jack Watts before. Why has Jack become consistent? Well, because we've tried to build him the right way, just like we have every other player on the list. James Frawley's the same. So don't think we're not in the game to win. We are in it to win.
To what extent are finals a motivator for the group?
I'll tell you what I'll do. At the end of round 24, we'll sit down again in the same room here and we'll talk about where we finish. Because the thing about this Friday night's game is we haven't got a great record at Etihad. We're playing against a very good football club who have got great experience on their list right now, and we've got a great challenge Friday night. Let's think about Friday night first. The rest of it will take care of itself. You can write whatever you like, but we're worried about this Friday night.
So
It would be good for their development, though.
It'd be good for the development if we keep winning games, absolutely, and we start winning quarters and winning the fundamentals of the game. We start doing that on a consistent basis, the outcome takes care of itself.
Just with Etihad, can that sort of thing get into players' heads a little? You lose a few games at a particular venue, whatever venue it is.
I'm not sure whether how many of our players have actually lost games at Etihad. I'd have to look to see how many of the players that are currently playing on the weekend, how many of those guys have actually lost games or how many games they've played at Etihad. There's a few of them have played maybe 1 or 2 games there. We don't play a lot of footy there in the last couple of years. So you go into every game with a real positive attitude regardless of where you're playing. I mean, the build-up around it is what it is, that's what the record says. But like I said, our interstate travel record wasn't great, but we're slowly turning that around, which is a real positive for us and great experience for our blokes.
Can I just ask one question on another topic? The Justin Charles story today, saying that he felt the AFL slightly covered up some parts of the investigation into his drugs charges. Do you feel confident with the process that the AFL has in place at the moment in terms of performance-enhancing drugs?
I haven't read the Justin Charles story, to be honest with you, so I've been a bit busy today. I think the AFL, what they've been able to put in place is a very strict protocol that, you know, I think the AFL, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the AFL leads a lot of codes in that area, I think. I think they should be applauded for the stance they've taken. With the Justin Charles thing, again, I can't make a comment on that, but I know that it's stringent what the AFL do, and they're very, very keen to ensure that the game is as clean as it can be. And I think they need a pat on the back more than being questioned.
Just quickly, Collingwood, while they were in Arizona, were tested 3 times in a week for performance-enhancing drugs. Is that too much? Is that too far-reaching?
No, I don't think so.